Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka Day. Today's Shloka is Shloka number 10 of chapter 15. Utkramantam sthitam vapi.
Utkramantam sthitam vapi.
Bhunjanam va gunanvitam.
Konjanam va gunanvitam.
Vimudhananupashyanti.
Vimodhananupashyanti.
Pashyanti jnanachakshushaha.
Pashyanti jnanachakshushaha.
Word for word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Utkramantam,
Utkramantam,
quitting the body.
quitting the body.
Thitam,
Sthitam,
situated in the body.
situated in the body.
Va api,
Va api,
either.
either.
Bhunjanam,
Kunjanam,
enjoying.
enjoy.
Va,
Va,
or.
or.
Guna anvitam,
Guna anvitam,
under the spell of the modes of material nature.
under the spell of the modes of material nature.
Vimudhaha,
Vimodaha,
foolish persons.
foolish persons.
Na,
Na,
never.
never.
Anupashyanti,
Anupashyanti,
can see.
can see.
Pashyanti,
Pashyanti,
can see.
can see.
Jnana chakshushaha,
Jnana chakshushaha,
those who have the eyes of knowledge.
those who have the eyes of knowledge.
Translation: the foolish cannot understand
The foolish cannot understand
how a living entity can quit his body,
how a living entity can quit his body,
nor can they understand
nor can they understand
what sort of body he enjoys
what sort of body he enjoys
under the spell of the modes of nature.
under the spell of the modes of nature.
But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge
But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge
can see all this.
can see all this.
Mataji, Anupashyanti and Pashyanti both are can see only.
Prabhuji, can we come to that a little later so that we can
Yes,
finish the session? Thank you. So Prabhupada writes in its purport, the word jnana chakshushaha is very significant. Without knowledge, one cannot understand how a living entity leaves his present body, nor what form of body he is going to take in the next life, nor even why he is living in a particular type of body. This requires a great amount of knowledge understood from Bhagavad Gita and similar literatures heard from a bona fide spiritual master. So Prabhupada is explaining that if we are divorced from the scriptures, then we really don't understand how all of this happens. How we take different types of bodies, different types of eyes, ears, nose, hair, mouth, teeth, etc. We really don't understand. But only when you really study the scriptures, and specifically here Prabhupada is mentioning the Bhagavad Gita under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, then you begin to understand all of this, then you can rectify your life, you can straighten your life out. One who is trained to perceive all these things is fortunate, which means it's not just hearing, it is also being trained. The training also comes through the Acharya's instructions. Every living entity is quitting his body under certain circumstances. He is living under certain circumstances, and he is enjoying under certain circumstances, under the spell of material nature. So all of this, the cause of all of this is we get influenced by the three gunas. As a result, he is suffering from different kinds of happiness and distress under the illusion of sense enjoyment. Persons who are everlastingly fooled by lust and desire lose all power to understand their change of body and their stay in a particular body, which means the more you migrate away from the Supreme Lord, the more your illusion increases. And the more your illusion increases, you really cannot decipher what is true and what is false, because you have accepted false as truth. So Prabhupada is saying they cannot comprehend it. Those who have developed spiritual knowledge, however, can see that the spirit is different from the body and is changing its body and enjoying in different ways. A person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material existence. Therefore, those who are highly developed in Krishna consciousness try their best to give this knowledge to the people in general, for their conditional life is very much troublesome. They should come out of it and be Krishna conscious and liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world. I was listening to a lecture by His Holiness S.B. Keshav Swami Maharaj, and he was talking about how when we want to separate from the Lord for whatever reason, just like a parent to keep their child occupied and to keep them out of mischief, they give them some toy, so the child plays with the toy and gets distracted by the toy. So similarly, the Lord has to give us a toy to distract us so that we are not troubling Him personally. So this toy is this playground, this whole material cosmos in which we are playing. But Maharaj was also explaining how even though for us it seems like we've been here for many, many lifetimes, and as Prabhupada explains, you go through 8.4 million species of lives. So even though we've been here for a long time, from the perspective of the spiritual world, it's just a flash of a second. But to us, it feels like a very long time because of the influence of time. In the spiritual world, there is no time. It's always present. Whereas in the material world, we experience time. So the more we are separated from the Lord, the more we forget Him. So the Lord is speaking specifically in this shloka about the eyes of knowledge. How to use the eyes of knowledge to discover the truth. In the Bhagavad Gita's 15, this is a summary by His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. In the Bhagavad Gita's 15th chapter, 7th shloka, Krishna cautions that our senses can mislead us, subjecting us to stress and distress. This caution echoes events in the Gita's first chapter, wherein Arjuna had been misled by his eyes. On seeing the opposing forces, he had lost his will to fight. Why? Simply because his eyes saw a particular thing that he wanted to see, that his family members were there on the battlefield, on the opposing side. Though our senses are valuable tools for navigating the world, they aren't always reliable. They can sometimes sabotage our higher purposes, especially our highest purpose. So the senses can play many tricks with you. Before you know it, even whatever good things you wanted to do, you may set that aside. But of all the good things in the highest purpose, what is that? As mentioned in the same verse, which is the 7th shloka, we are all parts of Krishna. Mamayavamsho jiva loke. We are meant to do our part in His plan, which is to make us better and make our world better through us. To stay true to this glorious purpose, we need a resource beyond our senses, the eyes of knowledge, jnana chakshu. So, that's why Prabhupada says, even if 1% of the world's population becomes Krishna conscious, that can be so powerful that it can change the rest of the inmates' consciousness. You just need a few devotees to transform the entire world. Significantly, this resource doesn't reject sense perception, but equips us to use it for making intelligent inferences, which means we can never reject our senses, mind, and intelligence. It's not possible. It's a part of our physical makeup. How can you just reject your physical makeup? You have to live with it. But you can expose your senses, mind, and intelligence to spiritual topics. And that's how slowly the transformation takes place. Consider the sun that provides us heat and light and provides them in just the right quantity for our survival and sustenance. As we haven't precisely positioned or powered the sun, we can infer that a benevolent higher being has, which means somebody must be controlling the sun, which we will discover in the future shlokas. We can arrive at the same inference by contemplating other beneficent arrangements that characterized our existence. Such arrangements can include the Earth's capacity to float in space, the ecology's capacity to make foodstuffs, and the body's capacity to digest food. I was listening to Srila Prabhupada's lecture on Nectar of Devotion right before this class that Prabhupada gave in 1972 in Vrindavan. Prabhupada explains that ultimately, we are all thieves because we are using what Krishna has given us without even acknowledging him or expressing our gratitude towards him. Of course, we as devotees have learned that now, so we've changed that aspect of our life. But Prabhupada also explains in that lecture that, there is a thief who doesn't have a right to your property is called a burglar. But then there are authorized burglars living in every family, which is of course, Prabhupada is talking about in the 1970s, right? Especially in India. Many women may not have been working. So Prabhupada explains in that lecture that we have authorized burglars in every household. The man will go work hard and the wife will say, I need money. The children will say, I need money. And the husband is so pleased. He's working so hard just so that his wife and children can steal the money from him and say, yeah, I want this and I want that. So Prabhupada says that there is a Sanskrit term, which I forget. Prabhupada says in Sanskrit, there is a phrase that this is authorized burglary. And the husband feels so pleased, or the father feels so pleased to share his funds with the wife and children. So ultimately, we are all stealing. Either we're stealing from Krishna, or if we don't recognize Krishna, then we're stealing from our family members and living off of them. So similarly, I was reading about how science has advanced so much that we can replace a heart, we can replace a lung, we can replace a kidney. But no matter how much science has tried, science cannot replicate digestion. That the process of digestion is so complicated, it will require a large factory setup to digest the food within one's body. So they have not figured out what all happens to help you digest your food, which will come in a future shloka where the Lord will say, I am the fire of digestion as Vaishvanara. Through the Gita's philosophical exegesis, Krishna equips Arjuna with the eyes of knowledge to make similar inferences about the impending war. Since Krishna wanted it, it was meant for everyone's ultimate welfare. Equipped with the Gita's eye of knowledge, we can use our sense perceptions to draw inferences that align us better with our higher purpose. So here in this particular shloka, the Lord is saying, if we have not understood this, if we're not reading the Bhagavad Gita, if we're not reading the scriptures, then we don't know that we are determining our next one under the influence of the three gunas. But Krishna is saying, if you are trained, if your eyes, what kind of eyes? We're not talking about the physical eyes. We're talking about the consciousness. The consciousness gets elevated and purified through the path of divine knowledge. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge, Krishna says we can see all of this. So that means if we recognize and realize this, then automatically we will be making changes in our life. We will be leading a different life than what others are leading side by side with us.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.